Yo, welcome back to the No Cut Sports Podcast with your host, Niall Frazier. And y'all already know when y'all see this face, we got some things to talk about pertaining to the Philadelphia Eagles. But before we get started, if you please, pretty please, could for me, like, comment, and subscribe to always catch this vibe, man. Y'all already know. So, we do got some breaking news, as y'all know. Landon Dickerson was at the open practice. Toward the end of the open practice, we thought, or fans thought, everybody speculated that, he suffered an injury. People were saying it was Jakorian Campbell hit him and, something happened to his leg, whatever the case may be. But long story short, Jakorian Campbell had nothing to do with this, but just a minor little injury, a meniscus tear. He's going to go undergo surgery, miss about 6 weeks, where he'll be week to week, per Adam Scheffner. So hoping that he gets back speedy recovery. We do have some options, to put in his position, but all in all, you really do want to get Dickerson back. I do know, what was it Brett Toth, Matt Pryor, a couple of guys that can fill in for Landon Dickerson, but all in all, it's still not the same. But I do wish him a speedy recovery. Excuse me, my windows sounds going off, but I do wish him a speedy recovery, man, because, like I said, his talent is unmatched. Of course, you got people like Stoutland, who I trust near and dear, one of the best coaches, offensive line coaches in the NFL. But you still want that talent there, plus him missing that time, and he probably wants to be there for that first game against the Cowboys to watch us drop that banner on their heads, man. And we're not going to get on that topic, but whole nother topic with the Cowboys, man. Jerry Jones is crazy, so we'll see what's going on with that. But and there might be even a chance to see even if Micah Parsons even plays in that game. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but that's just a thought that popped in my head. But Landon Dickerson will undergo that minor meniscus tear, like I said, 6 weeks. Hopefully he comes back sooner than later, man. But not to rush him back at all, because even though the schedule's a little hectic starting off, other teams are incurring some injuries as well. I know Matt Stafford is going through some things with his back. Hasn't really practiced. I don't think he's practiced he's probably been at practice, but I think they said he hasn't even thrown the ball or something like that in all training camp. And I think this is about week 2 or 3 for training camp. So for most teams, and that's not good, man. So hopefully, I wish him well, but there are teams that are incurring injuries, such as us as well, but not to the extent of other teams. So preseason can be very hectic, even though this wasn't a preseason injury, but preseason can be hectic. People are getting injured. We just want to make sure that, with these upcoming practices, joint practice with the Browns this upcoming weekend, and we play the Browns on Saturday. We just hope that, these players can make it out in good health. So especially the Philadelphia Eagles players, man, because like I said, we're trying to run this thing back. I know we got some concerns with the cornerback 2 position. As I watched this first preseason game, shout out to Shador too, because I gotta make sure I give my man his shout. I forgot to shout my man out, because they was counting my man out. But shout out to Shador. But we'll be seeing him this week. We'll be seeing my boy this week, hopefully. But the Philadelphia Eagles went out there and played against the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals started their starters and things like that, and Eagles played second and third string players. We never really play our starters. But long story short, man, we went out there. The cornerback position I'm worried about, and I ain't going to say too worried, but I was worried about going into the game. That's what I was really paying attention to, and in the safety position as well. Makuba didn't play. As y'all know, he was coming back from a shoulder injury, and they didn't want to rush him back either, him being a second round pick this past year. So I was paying attention to that, but the cornerback position really stuck out to me. I know a lot of people are getting on Keely Ringo, things like that. But Adoree Jackson too, he seemed just a little off, man, or a lot off, to be honest with you. And really didn't like what I was seeing from either one of the guys, man. But I still got hopes for Keely Ringo because of the athleticism. But at the end of the day, that's not going to be the end all be all. I think Keely Ringo was given a little bit too much space to Jamar Chase or whoever he was defending at the time. A little bit too much space, which is things that you can coach up before the season starts. They did say Keely Ringo did pretty well against Devontae Smith in practice, but again, that's somebody that you see every day. You know, you're seeing Jamar Chase 1 week, you're seeing Puka Nacua, whoever else the next week. So, you know, you want to make sure your technique is right when you go against these guys. And I just want to make sure that Kelee Ringo, and I know Christian Parker and Vic Fangio would get him up to snuff, because it sounds like Vic Fangio still has high hopes in Kelee Ringo. But then they go out here and they go acquire, oh man, I'm about to say my man's name wrong, Bennett. I know I'm going to say his first name wrong. Jakorian, is it Jakorian I want to say? But Bennett, who is, I've seen last year play. Not too many games, but like I said, I do fantasy and things like that. So I watch a lot of the different NFL games. And Buddy nice, man. He can cover well. He can even play press pretty well. And the crazy thing is, you know, we did have to trade Booker away. Shout out to Booker. I thought Booker was going to come in here and be one of those guys, you know, taking the place for Milton Williams, or, you know, filling in for whoever he needed to fill in for, because he did pretty well last year when he came into the game. So he's another piece that we're missing now, too, on that line. But clearly they feel like, you know, Gabe Hall got to shine a tad bit. He did. I think I want to say he got his shoulder that got injured, I want to say. I know he sustained the injury, but Gabe Hall, who was a player I've been very high on since we drafted him out of Baylor, I want to say, doing pretty well, man. So they got some guys on that line. The Vanilla Gorilla, he made a play here. You know what I'm saying? So some of them guys is getting coached up as well. You know, developing the player. First year player, second year player, it doesn't really matter. If you here, we got great coaches and they're gonna get you right, or at least ready for this scheme. So, but it's good to see, man, that they got Jakorian Bennett, great cornerback. I'm for sure he's going to rival for that second cornerback position. But Eli Ricks, they kind of threw him in the mix as well. He had, again, in preseason, you know, he's playing very well. So it's pretty much open at this moment in time. But this is the week to start looking for, you know, who's going to separate themselves, because we're getting too close to the season. Like I said, we're trying to run it back. We trying to go back to the Super Bowl. I know we a little spoiled, but I really want to go back, man. We got the team. We got the window. Like I said, there's other teams sustaining injuries. And like I said, it's never a good thing. I'm not wishing injuries on nobody or contract, you know, negotiations, holdouts. I'm not trying to do anything like that. I just, you know, I see what other teams are doing. I'm just trying to I'm just trying to make sense of it pretty much. So, and I feel like the Eagles still got the best chance of going back, at least winning the NFC championship, and then hopefully getting to the Super Bowl again. So, but there are some things that we got some concerns about. So, but there's a lot of bright spots on this team, man. A lot of bright spots. Like I said, but the Jakorian, and I hope I'm saying his name right, Jakorian Bennett trade, I know we lose a guy on the line, but he's a great cornerback. You've been hearing about him in the training camps. I think he got here last week, but this week you're hearing about him. He might probably play maybe this Saturday. I'm for sure they want to see what he can do. Like I said, we don't want to sustain any injuries. So he may be playing for a series or two, whatever the case may be. But you see what you got in practice. I know Vic can see it. But that, and then the wide receiver. I don't know how. First off, shout out to the scouting team for the Philadelphia Eagles organization, because how do you find these players sometimes? Cooper, the wide receiver Cooper. First off, I was watching Philly 500, and shout out to Philly 500 and Joey Shakes. Shout out to all the content creators. But I'm sitting there watching Philly 500 live stream today, right? And he's sitting there, he's live, whatever the case may be, talking about the practice, and then he flashes over to the TV. And I don't know if it was NFL Live. It was one of those, NFL channels, wherever the case may be. And they're talking about Cooper, the wide receiver. And he starts snapping. I'm snapping too, because he's trying to. I want to keep him the best kept secret. But after the performance he had in the preseason game, you're like, yo, bro, where did y'all get this bull from? Because he's like, and I'm not trying to. I don't like jumping in conclusions and being like, oh, he reminded me of this player, but bro, that looked like AJ Brown Jr. right there. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Did y'all see bro? I'm gonna throw the footage up here, but he make the catch, cuts, takes off the field. His release off the line is like a track. Like if you ran track, I ran track in high school and middle school, whatever the case may be, right? He has the start or the form of a track runner off the line. Good spacing, knows where to go on the field, find the soft, the cushions in the zone and things like that. I'm sitting here watching this dude toe tapping on the sideline. I'm like, whoa, what in the? Listen, hey, shout out to the scout team for the Philadelphia Eagles. But Howie or whoever do this, y'all got to figure out a way to keep this young man on this team. Because how often have we always talked about trying to find a wide receiver 3? And this is no disrespect to Jahan Dotson, who's been having a phenomenal camp. And I even said, I hope there is a way that we can keep Jahan Dotson, because I know he's going into his 4th year, I want to say. But Cooper, that boy cold, bro. That man cold, bro. And he very humble, but you can see it in his eyes. He got that dog in him. And I like that, man. So shout out to Cooper. Hopefully he can keep it up. Will Shipley, my man, had a nice little run. We still got to work on that stamina, though. We got to make sure, because if that was Saquon, he finishing that joint. He getting to the house for sure. But shout out to Will Shipley. Even Dylan, too. Dylan probably would have finished that joint off, too. But shout out to Will Shipley, man. I see you, my boy. Jahad Campbell, another player that had, almost had an interception, but, a little bright spot there. But Cooper, man. He's been practicing with the ones, too. He did have a good play today. I did think he dropped the next pass. I can't remember because I was looking at the tweets earlier. But, man, that man, listen. Like I said, I want to keep Jahan Dotson, man, because he's been having a good camp. Dave Spadero, he interviewed him today. And, he talked about, just learning the playbook because he came in last year right before, was it a week or two before the season started. Didn't have enough time to get, acclimated to the playbook to have the effect that he wanted to have on the game, especially being a first-round draft pick. But at the same time, he still went out there. He did what he had to do. Y'all seen some of them circus catches he had. You feel what I'm saying? The catches he had in the Super Bowl. So he contributed in a way where, a lot of players may not have been able to in a short amount of time that, they come to a team and things like that. So, and that's why I'm kind of glad we got Jakorian Bennett too as well. At the time we did give him some time to get acclimated. So it started the season, we ain't got no issues. You feel what I'm saying? So, but like I said, shout out to Jahan Dotson, but Cooper, man. If Jahan Dotson decides he wants to leave and, not take, because I know they're not going to pay the wide receiver 3 too much money, but like I said, he has the talent. He can go be a 1 or 2 somewhere else like he was down there with the Commanders. Cooper can definitely step in, man. I would love to see him if he can keep it up. But Buddy has this. He has the tools. He has the skill set. And they talking about him, so they got to be careful about where they place him. They might have to keep more wide receivers than they thought about, because Johnny Wilson, another player that shined in that preseason game. We were really. I ain't gonna lie, I was concerned last year, man, because Johnny and Ainias both didn't really hit. And you got to also give the player time to get acclimated to being in the league, playing at this speed, at this pace, and this season they're both going off, man. So Ainias probably gonna be returning kicks. He probably gonna have a little role, wide receiver 3. I know Johnny Wilson's gonna get used in some type of way because his size, his height makes him a weapon within himself. If he can just come down with those high point the ball and come down with that in the even in the game, he had a couple deep joints. If he can do that in the game or in the end zone, bro, that can change the game for us. So keep developing those guys. Shout out to it was a Moore, if I'm not mistaken, the wide receivers coach, getting these guys right, man. Because I'm telling you, we need everybody. You never know what you're going to incur during the season of an NFL season. And we have one of the hardest schedules. Like I said, other teams are sustaining injuries, not to the point where they're still not going to be able to compete, but they're sustaining some injuries, man, which can change the trajectory of the landscape of our schedule. So maybe things fall into place for us once again, man, and we get this repeat. But one game at a time. You know what I'm saying? Can't get too ahead of ourselves. But I want to make sure I'm not forgetting nothing. I know there's some other stuff I want to talk about, but I'm gonna make another video tomorrow, and talk about. I think they got the joint practice. They start tomorrow. And I don't know if they're going to have reporters, anybody like that there, but I'm sure if they do, I'll have that information for you. I might wait till after the practice is over and make the video, so I got a little bit more information to talk about. But really want to see if they play Shador too this upcoming Saturday, because I'm a big Shador fan. If y'all don't know, I follow Colorado. Shout out to Mr. Reggie. He followed Colorado too, so we would talk about that on a joint podcast, which I got to reach out to him and talk to him about. And we'll be having some people on this upcoming season, some of the subscribers. Shout out to Jonathan, and have him on, and just try to some people got some backgrounds that they play some sports, and they give some insight. So You know, it might help my information might help somebody one day. But all in all, like I said, I'll probably be making a video, I want to say tomorrow. Like I said, I don't know if they're going to have the reporters there at the joint practice, but if they do, get the information and I'll bring it to y'all and break it down the best way I can. So with that being said, I'm gonna get up out of here. I don't know if y'all been watching this too. The Buffalo Bills Hard Knocks. Now, as y'all know, I don't like Josh Allen all like that because buddy be messing up my fantasy and whatnot. But still respect Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills. You know, they're still a decent team. A team that we will see this season. So, you know, I'm also getting some player insight too as well. You know, I got to do my homework, man. Got to make sure, you know, everything on the up and up. But I also got to see sometimes what's going on behind, you know, enemy lines. You feel me? I might even watch that Dallas Cowboys. I might watch it. I ain't going to lie to you. I might watch it because I need something to watch on Netflix. So, but I already know that I don't know how to listen. And I'm not even trying to be rude, Dallas, okay? Before I get out of here, this should be even more confirmation for y'all about how long it's been since y'all won the Super Bowl. I literally went on YouTube, right? This is probably maybe no more than a few days ago, maybe last week. Went on YouTube and typed in Dallas Cowboys last Super Bowl appearance. Brought up the footage. When I tell y'all, I thought I was back in the early 90s, which I was back in the early 90s. That's the last time they won. Ridiculous. So I can only imagine what they had to do to this film to get it to look, because I got a 4K TV, so at least 1080p. You feel what I'm saying? What they had to do to render this to get the to get the quality to look somewhat decent. So shout out to the Dallas Cowboys, but at the end of the day, this should be a clear reminder about how long it has been since y'all even seen a Super Bowl or NFC Championship, let alone getting through the playoffs, because this is crazy at this point in time. Y'all still gonna talk y'all talk, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But that's a clear reminder. I might just watch it just for that fact. I just thought about that. Because I'm like, bro, how? I'm like, they talking about the championship. That's like, bro, the last championship, I was like 3. I know what my baby footage looked like on a camcorder. Like, so I can only imagine what they had to do to this film. But anyway, man, listen, man, I'm going to get up out of here, man. I hope y'all have a good night. I'll be on here tomorrow with the information. And before y'all go, if y'all don't like the Dallas Cowboys just as much as I do, please like, comment, and subscribe. And always catch this vibe, man. It's now your host from the No Cut Sports Podcast. I'ma holla at y'all, but before we get out of here, let's go Birds, baby. I'ma holla, y'all. Y'all be safe.